Yes, we need people for MSMA.
This is off mute. Good morning, everyone. My name is Arlisha Wilson. I will be the chair of today's meeting, and I will get us started. It is now 9:32. I will Call us to order and we'll get started by the reading of the preamble.
Good morning. My name is Liz Kukla. I'm the Secretary of the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Where's that coming from?
Good, how are you? To everyone on the call, could you please mute your microphone?
We need Xavier.
Your microphone.
Marcus, someone with the label of Marcus, you're giving us feedback. Could you please go on mute? Perfect. Thank you.
Good catch. Thank you. Good morning. Again, my name is Liz Kukla. I'm the Secretary of the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I'm going to read the preamble for you this morning, this Monday, April 28th. In compliance with notification requirements of the city's open meeting law and section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the city planning department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting have the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Please note that call-in users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube for public view. We have provided a link to the meeting for those who wish to speak on a particular case via our website and email. All requests to speak on a particular matter have been considered. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Can we call the roll?
Sure. Ms. Fate?
No.
Present. Let me fix that. There you go. Ms. Holzer?
Present.
It looks like Mr. Madison is not here yet.
I'm present.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
I thought I saw Marcus on there.
I didn't realize he was online. Thank you. Ms. Roca? Present. And Ms. Wilson?
Present.
Madam Chair, we have a full quorum.
Perfect. Any postponements this morning?
Madam Chair, we do have one postponement to announce, and this is calendar number 21-108 at 6806 Harvard Avenue. This case is being postponed. We spoke about this last week, but we still should announce it today because this is the original hearing date. This case is being postponed to allow time for city planning review, design review of the building that they want to place on the lot. We had postponed it originally to May 19th. Notices have gone out, neighbors have been notified. However, we have learned from the development team that they have a conflict and need to postpone it further out into June. So if it's all right with the board, June 9th would be the date.
Okay, June 9th, we'll postpone that matter. So if you are here for the case with the address of 6806 Harvard Avenue, we will not be hearing that case today. It will be postponed to June 9th. All right, does that conclude our postponements?
Yes, thank you.
All right, very good. We'll go ahead and call the first case. This is at 2442 Professor Avenue. Do we have an appellant present for this matter? All right, we'll have you come up to the table. Ms. Holzer, you want to go ahead and read the case in?
Sure thing. Good morning, everyone. Our first case is calendar number 25-063. This is at 2442 Professor Avenue. 3CRS LLC owner proposes to change use from Veterans Club to restaurant in a two-family zoning residential district. The owner appeals to relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 5. And then who will be doing the oath today?
I can do it. Take the oath. Okay, sure. We'll have Ms. Roca do the oath.
Cool. I'll hand it over to you, Ms. Roca.
Thank you. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, state your name, spell your name, give your address.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
please.
Thank you.
My name is Jake Zaris. I live at 14819 Lake Avenue in Lakewood, Ohio, 44107.
And can you spell your name, please?
Jake, Jake, Zaraz, Szaraz.
SZARAZ. Okay, got it. Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room for this case? Can you come up, please? You can sit and just close enough so we can hear you on the mic.
Madam Chair, it looks like Donna Gregonis is also online.
Okay, we'll get you next, Donna. Could one of you, thank you. And we'll start with you.
Anthony Cross,
Anthony Cross?
Yep.
Can you spell that, please?
CROSS.
Your address,
Home address or
whichever address you would like to put on the public record.
2442 Professor?
And do you swear?
Yes.
Thank you.
Matt, MATT, last name Zaraz, SZARAZ, 2193 Carabel Avenue. That's Lakewood.
Do you swear? And for you, sir?
Thomas McIntyre, MCINTYRE,
And your address?
21623 Kenwood Avenue, Rocky River.
And do you swear?
I do.
Thank you. And anyone on the call? Donna, I know we have you. You want to swear in?
Donna Gregonis, Tremont West Development Corporation. Our address is 2406 Professor Avenue, and I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. So I
Thank
do.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on the call? I'm not seeing anyone. Back to you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you, Ms. Roca. We'll go ahead. Oh, Kyle raised their hand.
Kyle, we have someone else? Kyle, would you like to speak in this matter?
Sorry, yeah, I'm just here as a neighbor, just here to listen.
Would you like to provide any testimony today? If you do, we
No.
can just swear you in. Okay. Okay.
All right, well, we'll ask you to lower your hand and we'll move to history of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This property was originally zoned general retail in 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1961, it was changed to the current zoning. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1904, a permit was issued to erect a store and suite building. 1934, also, we found that a permit was issued to erect a sausage room. And then
Sausage room.
and then in the more recent history, we see that in 2014, there was a certificate of occupancy issued stating that the authorized use of the property is as a Polish Legion American Veterans Club and a dwelling. And that's all that I have that's relevant. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you for that. Legal, please.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Appellant is requesting a use variance and area variances from the parking and landscaping requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request, 1, will result in an unnecessary hardship, particular to the property such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance. 2, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights. And 3, that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request, 1, will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district. 2, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights. And 3, that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
All right, thank you for that. We'll now turn to the project team. Which of you would like to speak first?
I'll go.
All right, just state your name before you start speaking so the court reporter knows who you are.
Okay, my name is Jake Zaraz. I'm the engineer of record, representing the restaurateurs behind me. As mentioned, they would like to change the use to turn this into a restaurant. As mentioned, the Polish Legion Club was a restaurant, even though it was operating in a residential district. They have a commercial kitchen upstairs. They had seating and a bar on the first floor. So technically their use, they're not really changing the use of what it was being used before, just on paper. The restaurant that they're looking to bring in there is they like to call it a blue collar seafood restaurant. If you guys want to elaborate on that, any, you can. If not, I'll keep going. But yeah, just seafood. Tom owns Kate's Fish Market in the West Side Market. Tony owns Happy Dog on Detroit Road. So they're looking to team up and bring something vibrant to Tremont. As mentioned on the other variances, there's 10 spaces in the back of the property. 18 spaces are required, so they're looking for a variance of 8 spaces. There is street parking readily available on Professor Avenue. The other variance is the landscaping or buffering on the back, on the adjacent parcels. I did attach pictures. It looks like there is construction going on, which would be to the south of the property. Looks like some multi-family homes are being built there, you can see, right up next to the property line there. So I'm not sure if during that project they were required to do any screening. And you can also see that there isn't much room for any additional screening there. I did look up this ordinance and I didn't see where the 75% or greater came into effect. To me, it looked like at that table that they only needed 5%, which wouldn't be the case here. So I think that's everything I got. So I'll open it up for any questions.
Okay. Either of you all want to chime in?
Tony does have a letter from a neighbor.
Okay.
Yeah, this is an adjoining property members.
Hold on one
Oh,
second.
sorry, this is Tony Cross.
Okay.
I have a letter from Jeffrey Chipless, who owns property adjoining ours.
Okay. And what's the letter say?
The letter states his support of the bar restaurant.
Okay, perfect. Can you hand that to our secretary, please? We'll make sure that that is in the file. All right, does that conclude your remarks? All right, anything from you? Nothing from you?
Very
No?
excited about this project. Been
Okay.
looking to do something like this for a long time, and we found the right partners. And the fact that they own the building makes it really attractive to me. And excited to bring something vibrant and really bring seafood to the masses in a way that has not been represented in the city of Cleveland thus far, with most of our seafood restaurants being either of Asian Asian sort of a boiled bag concept or a higher end concept. We're trying to do something a little bit lower, not lower end, but something more affordable, more approachable to the everyday crowd. Just bring a really good neighborhood seafood bar to Cleveland. It's represented in other cities pretty well, this concept. It's not currently represented in Northeast Ohio. Well,
Okay. All right, thank you for that. Any questions from the board?
Madam Chair-
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'll go then. I don't think we discussed the lighting.
Oh, yeah. So lighting, totally fine with providing lighting in a parking lot. We can do a photometric design and submit that at a later time, but we didn't have anything for this meeting.
Okay, so you are saying that you will comply with number 3, and you will not need that variance.
Correct.
Okay. And we'll just need you to resubmit new plans.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions from the board?
Madam Chair, my question was the front elevation and what the plans are for the concrete that's up in front of the building.
Yeah, so there was a front elevation that was already submitted, I believe, and approved. I didn't attach that as part of this. But if you look at the front of the building, pretty much, it's hard to tell in the picture, but originally the whole first floor was all storefront glass. So the plan is to remove all the brick. They'll leave remove all the brick and then put a storefront system in there. And I believe they are looking at using a synthetic wood frame, so that there'd be like a wainscot, maybe 2 feet high on the bottom that would just be like wood looking paneling, and then the rest above it would be framed glass. And then the door would get replaced with a new storefront door system.
Uh-huh, right. And what about all the concrete that's in what would be the front lawn and the tree lawn?
Yeah, so the concrete would be removed to make it ADA compliant. I think right now there's a step there, so a good portion of the concrete would be removed to make a ramp so it's ADA accessible. And then the tree lawn, I don't think there were any plans out in the front of the building as far as if you're speaking about removing the concrete apron and then putting in landscaping.
Well, I wasn't referring to the apron itself, but to the concrete that covers the tree lawn. I mean, because the entire front of the building is concrete at this point.
Yes.
From the building to the street, so.
Yeah. As of right now, there hasn't been any plans or discussion on that.
Okay, I'd be interested to hear what city planning and Ms. Gronis have to say, Madam Chair.
Okay, before we get there, I do have one question for the team. So in order to get the variance to permit a restaurant to operate in a two-family district, you do have to demonstrate that if you're denied this variance, that there will be an unnecessary hardship. Can you speak to that, please?
A hardship on me personally or the?
On the property owners,
Yeah,
which
so
is 3CRS LLC.
I don't know if you guys want to speak on that
Yeah,
because you own
Tony
Please.
Cross. The building has existed as a bar restaurant for some time. So if we're not able to work within that structure in that capacity, then I don't really know what can be done with the property. It could not be a residential property. It hasn't been used as such in over half a century.
Can you speak to that when you say it couldn't be a residential property? Why is that?
It's currently not set up to be that. I mean, it clearly has evolved, but has always stayed some level of non-residential use. Not a facet of the building that speaks to a residential use.
Okay, understood. Thank you. All right, Ms. Grigonis, you want to chime in, please?
Yeah. Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Donna Grigonis, Tremont West Development Corporation. Our office has been working with Tony Cross and the team. I would say they started this project in late 2022, and it was actually a surprise to everyone that they weren't able to just, start opening up a restaurant and move forward, because the whole entire building is essentially made to be the use that they are trying to have approved. It's unfortunate that it's been taking this long, but I know it takes a while to do this, but this is definitely something that the neighborhood would welcome. They've been excited about it. Although we haven't gone formally to the public meetings for this. There are parking spots in the back, which is actually rare for Professor Avenue. So this is actually has more parking than a lot of the businesses here now. And then there's also a public parking lot across the street. So that's pretty easily accessible within 5-minute walk, even less than that, probably 3-minute walk, 2 minutes. And then this use is in line with other similar uses on the street. So this would fix some of that missing tooth along this, I would call it a missing tooth of storefront that's in use along Professor, because this has been closed for a few years and it was formerly operating as the use they're trying to get approved today. And when you asked about the front porch, I'm hoping that if we get to that point soon, I can work with the team to get permits at the city level to this be an active use in the front as well. But as far as I'm aware, I haven't had any complaints come through, and the immediate neighbor, Jeffrey Chipless, who Tony said he had a letter from, is very much in support of this, and he would normally be someone that would be more weary about a use like this. So that's a welcoming thing for the neighborhood. We're just really excited to see this come to fruition, and if there's anything we can do to help, please keep us posted. Thank you guys very much.
All right, thank you so much for that, Donna. I'll now turn to city planning, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Xavier Bay. I'm representing City Planning. We're supportive of the variance request here today for the change of use to the restaurant. This property is directly adjacent to a general retail business district, and at the corner, the intersection of Jefferson Professor, as well as Professor and Starkweather. So both ends of the block are already, housing multiple restaurants. So we don't see this use interfering too much with the neighboring residents. We support the off-street parking variance. It doesn't look like there's much room on the lot to add additional spaces. And it's great to see that they're providing some off-street parking for the restaurant use. It's also great to hear that they're going to follow up with a revised plan showing some of the outdoor lighting. That was a recent ordinance that just passed, so it's good to hear that they're going to adhere to that. The only point I have to make is for number 4, the 75% or greater opacity of sufficient height to conceal uses for the fencing or screening is mainly because they're providing off-street parking in the rear. And so typically we would like to see some type of screening for the neighboring residences, to avoid a lot of that headlight pollution into neighbors' windows nearby. So I guess that's a question I do have for the applicants. Is that something that you see in the future for this project? Modifying the chain link fence that looks like those parking spaces head up to, as well as the other side is a little harder to speak to because as you can see on the photos provided, if a fence is going to be erected directly adjacent to that building structure, typically, you're supposed to be the same height, the same distance away from a structure as the height. So another variance would be required if they did, move forward to provide fencing on the side where you see the building construction going on. But I'm speaking mainly to the photo on the left where you can see that the wheel stops are. It'd be good to see some type of, more opaque fencing screening on that side of the parking lot. Those are the only comments I have.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Bay. Can I have you speak to that, please?
Yeah, I don't think they would be opposed to doing any screening. It would just, obviously we'd have to figure out what's going on because it looks like there's a brick wall there. So
If I may, this is Tony Cross. That is Jeff Chiplis's property. So that, I have no issue working with him, the gentleman who issued the letter of support, to make sure that it's acceptable.
Okay, perfect. So then we'll ask for the plans to be updated according to that as well as the lighting. Sound good?
if you had a letter from Jeff Chiplis saying he didn't want any screening, would that be good enough?
What's your reaction to that, Mr. Bay?
I mean, it's hard to speak to that because, who knows if he might decide to sell his property in the future, and then the whoever does end up residing there, would have a negative impact based on his decision.
Yeah.
So that's why.
I have a question regarding the screening. They can also use landscaping materials, correct? They don't have to use a fence. That might be an alternative that is less permanent.
Okay.
If you want to, what would be appropriate in this area, arborvitae or?
It really depends how much. This is Xavier Bay again from City Planning. I guess the appropriateness is difficult to speak to. It's already paved over, so depending on how much the existing landowner and the neighboring landowner want to tear up the concrete to provide landscaping screening, that it's very hard to speak to that. I mean, I would just stick with what the ordinance states as far as 75% or greater opacity at a sufficient height, really to block the headlights in. Should suffice.
And then they would just need to resubmit their plans for that as well.
Correct. That would just need to be seen on a revised plan.
Xavier, could they use some sort of privacy screening within the chain link, or would the city consider that opaque enough?
Yes, if they're meeting the 75%. Sometimes we do see that with those like opaque slats that go into the fencing. Typically, you know, in a design perspective, it's good to see a better approach than just, you know, slates in a chain link fence. But yeah, to speak to the point, yes, 75% opacity would need to be met.
So you have several options.
Any other questions from the board?
Madam Chair, I did have a question. Looking at the plans, it looks like there's only a single drive going in and out to the parking. So just for the record, to the appellants, is the intended use for the parking for your guests, or are you hoping that the parking would only be used by staff, for example?
You state your name before you.
Sorry, Tony Cross. We intended a mixed use. If we were instructed that it would be best to keep it to employees, fine. But our original intention was to keep it for both employees and customers.
Okay. Any follow-up questions from that, Ms. Holzer?
Not at this time.
All right. Any other questions from the board? If not,
Excuse me, Madam Chair. Sorry, I think I saw Kyle's hand come up and go down. I don't know if you wanted to allow him a chance to.
okay. Kyle, did you have comment? I know we did not swear you in, so if you do have comment, we will need to do that.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, you can swear me in if you need to. That's okay.
All right.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, state I do, state your name, spell your name, give your address.
Sure. I do. Kyle Nielsen, KYLE NIELSEN. 2444 Professor Avenue.
And do you swear?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead with your comment.
Yeah, I belong to the construction on the other side of the property. So right up against the property line. Our intention was to put a fence running between those two properties as part of our construction. So, you know, no real concerns on our end. I don't have any huge concerns with lighting either. So I'm willing to work with them on this, but I just, I know, not necessarily in favor or against it. Just willing to work with them, and I have no problems with it as presented.
Do you all have each other's contact information?
This is Tony Cross speaking. I believe Donna was going to put us in touch, so it's good to have this connection.
Great.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for your comments, Kyle. Any other questions from the board before we move to the motion?
Madam Chair, just one quick question. I'm wondering if, first of all, I think this is a talented project team, and I'm sure they'll come up with a creative solution, probably in keeping with the restaurant, to solve that opacity issue at the rear of the lot there. And I was just curious if they're going to keep in keeping with the roots of the building and be offering pierogies and sausage on the menu. And with that, I would motion, with the discussion that we've had with regard to amending and submitting new plans showing that opacity screening and the outdoor lighting, to submit a new set of plans. With that, I would move that we approve calendar number 25-063.
All right. Thank you for that, Ms. Faith. Is there a second?
Board Member Roca, I second.
All right. Can we call the vote?
Ms. Holzer,
Yes.
Mr. Marcus,
Yes.
Ms. Roca,
Yes.
Ms. Faith,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Calendar number 25-063 is granted conditionally. We'll hold ratification until we receive a new drawing showing the screening as well as the lighting remedy. And once we receive that, we'll ratify it the following Monday and we'll send you a letter.
Okay. So we don't have to come back in for a meeting, we'll just adjust plans.
Correct.
Correct.
And then once we have final approval, we can submit for building permit. Okay.
Yes. Yep. You're
Thank you.
all set. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Good luck with your project.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. All right, we're now going to call calendar number 25-064. This is at 1356 West 65th Street. Do I have an appellant present? Okay, we'll have you come forward to the table and we'll have Ms. Holzer read in the case.
Sure thing. Our next case is calendar number 25-064. This is at 1356 West 65th Street. Elizabeth Martin, owner, proposes to construct a one-story addition to an existing single-family residence in a B1 two-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are two. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Roca for the oath.
Thank you, Ms. Holzer. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, state I do, state your name, spell your name, give your address.
I do. Elizabeth Martin, ELIZABETH Martin, 1356 West 65th Street, or 4102.
Thank you.
I do. Andrew Fontanarosa, ANDREW. Fontanarosa is FONTANAROSA. And 1358 West 65th Street.
Thank
Just
you.
for full disclosure, I am married, but I own the neighboring property.
Okay, thank
Thanks
you.
for the
We are
disclosure.
Is there anyone else in the room who would like to speak in this case? Is there anyone on the call who'd like to speak on this matter?
Yes, this is Brandon Young, BRANDONYOUNG. Address is 15614 Detroit Avenue, Lakewood 44107, and I do.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on the call? Hearing none, back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Ms. Roca. We'll go to history of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. I think the most pertinent information is that in calendar number 20-053, this board granted a variance to erect a room addition to a property on site. And that was granted with the condition that no permanent parking would be permitted on the concrete pad in the front of the house. And again, that was in calendar number 20-053, and that was July 27th of 2020. And then this board again granted a variance in calendar number 23-131 on September of 2023. This board granted a variance to erect a single-family residence with a wooden deck on the second floor of a two-car garage in the rear in a two-family residential district again at that time. There were no conditions placed on that variance. And that again was in September of 2023. That's all that I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that, Madam Secretary. Legal, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting area variances from the enlargement of existing nonconformance and minimum distance between residences requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request, 1, will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the zoning district. 2, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights. And 3, that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll now hear from the project team. You want to tell us about your project?
Yes, sir. We currently have a 2-bedroom home, and we have a son and a daughter, and they're sharing a bedroom. So we would like to add 1 small bedroom at the back of the house with some closet space, so they could have their own bedrooms as they grow up and are not going to want to. They think it's cute now, but we know eventually it's not going to be. So in our mind, we're planning to be in this home for a long time and would like to make it work for the size of our family. So it's a 1-bedroom at the back, and it's going to replace the footprint of an existing deck. So we're going to forego the deck, and we would have a bedroom instead. Yeah, I'll stop there for a minute.
Okay, does that conclude your comments?
Well, I mean, if I were to sort of elaborate on kind of what's in here in terms of like the variances needed. So given that there's a deck there already, we're sort of hoping that footprint and that it will lead up to an existing concrete driveway so that the plans wouldn't change the construction of that at all. So there's space between the existing driveway and the home to just remove the deck and have the bedroom instead. And then also for the residence that is referred to as behind the house in terms of the distance between, it's a garage with living space above that is my husband's full-time office. And we use as some occasional guest space, so it's not technically a residence as we're using it. And the other thing is that we have a number of residences and properties in our neighborhood that have really close together, back and front, that are actual residences. For example, 1366 has a front and a back residence that are very close together and actually is occupied separately by people living there. So in terms of like comparing it to other property owners in the area, it seems like it would be within kind of what they've been able to do for us to be able to do the same and have our house extend a little bit closer to our garage.
Okay. All right, very good. Do you want to give comment?
Yeah, and I submitted an email comment as well that confirmed that it had been received, I think, this morning. One note, I just on the calendar, on the agenda, it notes that she's requesting a variance from section 33703H. I think that is actually meant to be a different code because that does not go to the front and rear residence minimum distance. So I specified that in the email. So it was appeared on the actual notice as well. But like Liz said, in terms of the neighboring area, there are multiple properties that have less than 40 feet between their front and rear residences. And then likewise for this property, we are replacing an existing deck. It'll sit within the footprint of the existing deck, setback from the existing driveway. So will not impact that. And then likewise, the two residences, the front is obviously our home residence, and then the back is a garage with living space above it that we use as an office and occasional guest space.
All right, thank you for that. I will now go to Mr. Brandon Young. Do you want to give comment?
Sure, thank you. Yeah, I'll speak in addition to their comments about the hardship. We did explore an option of doing the addition above the existing first floor, but the trouble that we came across was with the vaulted ceilings and kind of with the stair configuration. It didn't allow for an adequate footprint for another bedroom. So which is why, our only option at that point was to do the addition off the back of the house where the existing deck is.
Okay.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Young, let me just clarify. So you explored the option of putting this room on the back property, back residence, or I'm sorry.
No, the existing front residence, we did explore doing a second floor addition on above that.
Second floor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, any other questions from the board?
Madam Chair, I have one. So it looks like you have a garage, it's a garage with the workspace above it. Will you be able to maneuver a car in and out of the space now that if you are granted these variances to add this addition on where the deck is?
Yes, actually, the concrete driveway that was just put in is not going to change at all. So we maneuver it every day. And we had hoped that in future state, we would be able to do this. So we had them measure to make sure that we could do all that. We kind of put stakes out pretending if there were a building here, could we still, and we were totally fine to clear through that. Just in case we ever got to this project and we were able to get it through. So yeah, I was very much like not wanting to have to change finally got a driveway and got off street and then want to impact any of that. So.
Right. Just wanted to make sure because the other variance that you were granted just requires that you not park cars in the front of the house.
Oh, no.
So,
I just,
Yes.
Fontana said, when we pull out of the garage, we had the deck there, so we aren't able to navigate. There's a deck coming off the back of the house, so we're able to pull out of the garage and navigate, and nothing about this project changes that turning radius or setback.
Okay, thank you.
All right, other questions from the board?
Madam Chair, Ms. Roca did touch upon that parking pad at the front of the house. And that was a condition of a previous variance. So again, I want to reiterate the fact that that is never going to be used for parking. And my other question was, is the office living space above the garage ever used for short-term rentals?
It is not.
Okay, great. That concludes my questions. If there are none others, I'll go to a motion.
We have to hear from city planning first. I'll go to
Yep.
Mr. Bay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. This is Xavier Bay again, representing city planning. We're generally supportive of the variances. We don't see any issue because they're not encroaching more into the side yard. Just in alignment with what Board Member Faith was just mentioning, making sure that with this motion, we also add the condition that no parking occur in the front yard space and the parking pad. And then towards the, I believe the applicant mentioned the code section. I did make a typo there. It looks like when I made the presentation, this variance is for section 357.15 for rear buildings for the distance between the two. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that correction as it relates to variance request number 2. All right, so we've heard from city planning. We will entertain a motion. Ms. Faith, I think you were going to move.
Yep, I'll go ahead. Thank you. I think it is to the benefit of the appellants that they have the 2 previous variances. And again, we're going to reiterate that there's no parking on that pad at the front. And that the deck was already approved as a variance, and the proposed new addition is not changing the footprint outside of the deck that exists. So with that 22 foot 8 inches, though tight, you've already been navigating that for your parking pad and turning radius, and it's adequate, though probably not as large as you would like it to be, but it is what it is. So with that being said, I move that we approve calendar number 25-064.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Board Member Madison, second.
All right, can we call the vote?
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Mr. Madison?
Yes.
Ms. Faith?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Calendar number 25-064 is granted. It'll be ratified next Monday. We'll send you a letter, but you can contact us next Wednesday for further instruction.
Great. Thank you
right.
all very much.
Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
All right, we're now going to call a case located at 3265 West Boulevard. Do we have an appellant present for this matter? Hi, looks like we do. Ms. Hoser, you want to read the case in?
Sure thing, not a problem. Our next case is calendar number 25-065. This is at 3265 West Boulevard. Linda Vanis and Say Incorvea, I apologize if I butchered anyone's names, owners propose to change use of an existing 3-story frame 2-family residence to a 3-family residence with 2-car detached garage and 3 concrete parking spaces in an A1 1-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 3. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Roca for the oath.
Thank you, Ms. Holzer. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply with I do, spell your name, spell your name, and provide your address.
I do Stephanie K. Thomas, that's Stephanie. Middle initial K, last name Thomas, Thomas. My address is 3278 West Boulevard, and I'm the architect for the owner who cannot be here. They have provided an email though.
Perfect. I was just going to ask that, so thanks for anticipating that question.
Yes, sir.
Timothy Jack Clark Leslie. I do swear, and my address is 3278 West Boulevard, 44111.
And can you spell your first and last name, please?
TIMOTHY LESLIE.
LESLIE. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else in the room who would like to speak in this case? Is there anyone on the call who would like to speak in this case? I am not seeing anyone, so back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you for that, Ms. Roca. We'll go to history of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that a dwelling was erected in 1923 as well as a garage. And that in 1941, a permit was issued to convert the dwelling to a two-family. And then in our more recent history in our Acela system, we found that in 2024, a certificate of disclosure was issued to the property stating that the authorized use of the property is as two-family dwelling. And there are no variances on file. That's all that I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Madam Secretary, legal, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance and an area variance from the three-family residence requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request, 1, will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance. 2, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights. And 3, that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request, 1, will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district. 2, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights. And 3, that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. Note, section 337.03 allows the board to grant a special permit for more than 2 dwelling units, provided that it is in conformity with the building and housing code.
All right, thank you. I will start with the project team. You want to tell us about your project?
Sure. So the owner across the street has been occupying the home as a three-family. It has 3 separate bathrooms, 3 separate entrances, 3 separate kitchens for decades. On whole, the whole of West Boulevard is a single-family residence district, but you would have to be a millionaire to afford these homes. Many people in the neighborhood illegally occupy these houses as multiple family homes. The CDC is in favor of this. They've provided a letter of support. They want, it's a working class neighborhood and they want more working class families and individuals living in it. From an architectural standpoint, this is extremely safe. There's an existing rated wall in between all of the units. And there's no exterior modifications needed, so we don't have to worry about landmarks. It has ample parking. It's a 2.5 car garage with at least 3 spots in the rear of the home. And yeah, I mean, I spoke with Danny Kelly too. I see he's not here, but he says that the county records show this as a 3-family. So I think it's getting taxed at a 3-family rate, but it's really zoned for 1 family. So there's no reason not to provide financial incentive to the city and the county in terms of tax revenue, but also to lessen the financial burden on whoever is going to buy it, because you know, the income range you would need to actually afford this home is significant.
Okay, does that conclude your remarks?
I think so, yeah.
All right, we'll hear from you next.
I go by the property a lot, just in my daily walks, and it's a very attractive property. I know the lady that grew up in the house, that she's the mayor of Bentleyville, Kathleen Hill, and I don't know, I just feel like it deserves to be further a showplace in the neighborhood. And like she said, it's a neighborhood full of beautiful homes, and I'm all for it being, embellished and showcased. That's it.
All right, thank you for your
If I could
comment.
add one thing that sort of piggybacks on what Timothy just said, is that these homes are old and beautiful and they're huge. And it takes a small team of people to keep them up. So having 3 occupants in this building, 3 families perhaps, as opposed to just 1 or 2 people, I think it behooves the neighborhood because there's more ability to keep these historic homes in good working order.
Okay, Any question from the board?
Madam Chair, I do have a question to the appellant. Is the intended use for long-term rentals, or is there any plan to use these for short-term rentals? Example, you know, a VRBO, Airbnb, HomeAway, so on and so forth.
Thank you for the question. The intended use will be long-term rentals, a mix of market and Section 8 rentals.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions from the board?
If you are not granted these variances today, what difficulty will you face?
So, the owner, this didn't come up for the owner until they were about to close on the sale. The difference in sale price between a 3-family and a 1-family is significant. So not only would the owner, who has done a great job at keeping this property up, it's beautiful. I wish we could put the Zillow up. It's absolutely gorgeous on the inside. They would lose a lot of sale price. Additionally, the county would lose that increased sale price in terms of property tax revenue.
Okay, other questions from the board?
Madam Chair, typical question in cases like this, how many sets of utilities are there?
There's 3. There's 3 meters for electric, and there's 2 gas meters already on the property.
And what are you gonna do about the gas for the third?
I'm not sure what that's just how it was. I think it's because it's a boiler for the whole building, so they're gonna have to split utilities, figure that out with the tenants when they start renting.
And when you say we, who is going to be, you're identifying yourself as the architect for this project? So
That's right.
who's going to be the property owner?
Well, my father put in a bid for the house. I don't think he's on the call today. It'll likely be my father and myself owning the house. And, you know, I've been in discussions with the CDC about this. They know that I intend to be a landlord and property owner on West Boulevard for multiple different addresses.
So at this point, you are not the property owner. You expect your father to be the property owner.
That's correct.
Okay, so I think that raises the point. Do we need do we need documentation, Ms. Kukla, for Ms. Thomas to act on behalf of her father, the potential property owner? And also, do we have correspondence from the CDC or the council person?
Madam Chair, we do have the authorization form.
Okay.
And I do have several letters. One from the CDC. Rose Zitello, Executive Director, writes that she's writing on behalf of Westtown Community Development Corporation in support of the request to grant approval for the existing 3-family dwelling located at 3265 West Boulevard. They reviewed the plans prepared by the architect record and agree that the request to approve the existing use as a 3-family structure is appropriate. The next letter is from Sam Incorbi, and I don't see an address for him.
That's the current owner.
Oh, he writes, when we were in the market for the house before purchasing the house at 3265 West Boulevard, our priority was finding a triple. His grandma, uncle, sister, and mother were all living in separate apartments. They decided they wanted to split the cost of one place of a residence instead. Triple residence was the only way that the plan was feasible. Once purchased, his sister lived in one of the upstairs apartments, and his uncle and grandma lived in the other. This left his mother, who lived on the bottom floor. For the most part, they had their own separate bills, although some were split between them. Otherwise, the triple allowed them to live independently of each other for years until his sister got engaged and uncle and grandma passed away. The house fulfilled everything the family needed from a triple during the time that they were there. And that was Sam M. Corvaya. And then there's another letter from Emily Terry on Ignatius Avenue resident. Excuse me. States that he's been a resident of the Cleveland's West Side for nearly 10 years, currently lives on Ignatius Avenue off of West Boulevard. I am writing this comment to state my support for the project that would help to address this neighborhood's urgent need for more stable housing for those who find themselves on the margins of society. There are vulnerable people navigating the streets of the west side who are struggling to escape the vicious cycle of poverty and or homelessness and addiction. They serve the people of Cleveland and is willing to do the hard work of making existing and empty properties on the boulevard livable and accessible for those who have fallen on hard times. People in the city are experiencing crisis and fighting for survival. They deserve the dignity of safe housing and the comfort of community and that prioritizes them. The work of STPC uplifts those who have been left behind by the city planners and prevents them unnecessary deterioration of large homes on West Boulevard. I, Emily Terry, urge the Board of Zoning Appeals to agree to greenlight STPC's housing project. As a resident of West Boulevard who cares about the poor, the disenfranchised, and the forgotten, supports the mission of STPC and reject the enforcement of the outdated and expiring zoning laws. Thank you.
STPC.
Shelter of the People, Cleveland.
Okay, I'm like, I see that nowhere.
So that's the logo right here. This.
So is that the architect?
I'm the
ST?
architect. It's a nonprofit corporation.
Okay,
We're building homes in Cleveland. We will be buying old homes in Cleveland and making sure that they are kept at a cheap rent, that they're in good condition, so that we can keep people housed safely and happily.
okay, I understand now. Thank you.
So I just want to clarify, so they will be rented properties, not residential facilities?
That's correct.
Okay.
So we have a sober house across the street. This will be a place for people that have, completed, all of their 12 steps and their program and they're foundationally sound to have their first, possibly sometimes first independent apartment. But we're going to put a couple of these on the market the second that the ownership transfers.
All right, other questions from the board?
Now, Madam Chair, through you, and maybe this might be something for city planning to answer. The intended use, is this for a shelter for individuals, or is this for individuals just to rent the property? So I know that we had conversations before regarding something completely separate,
Sure.
regarding the nonprofit organization and their support to help people experiencing homelessness.
Sure.
So is the intent to use this property as an extension of the nonprofit organization to help individuals experiencing homelessness, or to
So
just rent?
they will be rental properties. It will not be a shelter in terms of how we today define the term shelter, but the term shelter historically has meant putting a roof over somebody's head. People that are reentering society, either from jail or a brief stint in the county, or that are coming off the streets and through programs that help support them as they're exiting homelessness, there are very few landlords that will rent. As the mayor has probably just figured out, they did house 145 people. That's incredible. There's not a lot of landlords that will just put themselves out there to be like, I'm willing to help somebody that's gone through something that I myself have gone through. So this will not be a shelter. It will be managed by a nonprofit organization, and it will be owned by an LLC so that tax revenue will be generated for the city and for the county.
Through you, Madam Chair, as the management of the property, can you speak to just some of the other things that we've kind of discussed around just safety and all of those different things as it relates to just the management of individuals moving into the home?
Sure. In the 2 years that I've owned the home across the street, we've never had a serious safety issue. We've housed 54 people in 18 months. However, 3 weeks ago, there was kids drinking on somebody's front porch around the corner on Joan. A bunch of children, well, when I say kids, I mean, they were in their late teens or late 20s. That party spilled out onto West Boulevard. Somebody pulled a gun out. A woman almost died, not in my front yard, but my neighbor's front yard. So I think keeping housing in which it's, people that are working to further themselves and grow and be part of the community is paramount. You know, we're going to follow all the fair housing laws, that we need to, but at the end of the day, people that get housed at 3265 West Boulevard are gonna have a support system, which includes me and my staff, whom are all licensed professionals. I'm a certified licensed peer supporter. And I have a team of chemical dependency counselors, social workers, other people like Timothy that, have worked a program and are many years sober. So
So it seems to me the more you speak, this is sounding like a residential facility and not a three-family home that would be leased at market rate or whatever rate to individuals.
it's not a residential facility. It's a 3-family home with 3 independent units. And since most of the tenants, not all of them, but most of them will be graduating from either our sober house or one of our affiliate organizations, sober houses. If somebody falls into some sort of hard times, like, they get fired from their job and they need somebody to call to get through it, so they're not picking up a bottle of alcohol, we'll be there for them.
So these are paying tenants, so you're on the record, so, Section 8 housing, you plan to make at least one or more of these units Section 8 housing.
That's right. Eden's coming to pre-inspect as soon as we get the keys.
Okay, and then at least one or more of these units is going to be a for market rate for rent property.
That's right.
Okay.
All right, any other questions from the board? All right, I will entertain a motion. Wait, did I hear from Mr. Bay?
Thanks. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is Xavier Bay representing City Planning. The permit application submitted is strictly just the proposal to change the use as a 3-family home. So we're generally supportive of, this administration is supportive of density, so we support the use variance.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Bay. I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, before we go to that, I did have one quick question for Ms. Thomas. I'm curious, we've had extensive discussion previously about your skills as an architect. Are you licensed in the state of Ohio as an architect?
That's a great question. I am not licensed. I have a Bachelor of Architecture from Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, New York, and pursuant to the rules of the city of Cleveland, as a contractor and DIY homeowner, I can submit plans for 1, 2, and 3-family homes.
That's correct. But unfortunately, and I'm in this boat myself, when you're not a stamped architect, you cannot use that title. You can call yourself a building designer by the state of Ohio, but you cannot call yourself an architect.
Oh, okay. I will,
Yeah.
I guess, so when I come in to represent this or other projects in the future, what term should I use?
You can call yourself a building designer.
Okay.
And you fall under the category. This is the same boat that I'm in, so I understand the situation.
Okay.
You can call yourself a building designer, but without being stamped, you cannot call yourself an architect by the rules of the state of Ohio.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Faith. I appreciate that.
Certainly. Okay, hearing testimony that we've heard today and the clarification that these will be free rental units, not a living facility. I think we're clear on the fact that you're not going to be doing any assembly at this facility. Is that correct, Ms. Thomas?
That's right.
Okay, all right. With all that being clarified, I move that we go ahead and approve calendar number 25065.
All right, thank you, Ms. Faith. Is there a second?
Board Member Madison, second.
All right, can we call the vote?
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Mr. Madison?
Yes.
Ms. Faith?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Calendar number 25-065 is granted. It'll be ratified next Monday. We'll send you a letter, but you can contact us next Wednesday for further instruction.
Okay. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you all. Have a great day.
All right, you too. All right, we're now going to call the case that is located at 9709 Miles Avenue. Do we have an appellant present for this matter? All right, I'll turn to Ms. Holzer to read in the case.
Our next case is calendar number 25-066. This is at 9709 Miles Avenue. Kimberly McAllister, owner, proposes to establish a child care center in a B1 two-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from a strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record of which there is one. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Roca for the oath.
Thank you, Ms. Holzer. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth? Please state your name. Say I do.
I do.
State your name, spell your name, and give your address. Go ahead, ma'am.
Kimberly McAllister. But I spell it right.
Yep, spell it.
Kimberly. My last name is MC, capital ALLISTER.
This is our court reporter, so I'll have to speak
Oh,
louder for her to.
MC, capital ALLISTER.
LLISTR?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And your address?
My home address?
Whichever address you would like to put on the
Oh,
record.
yeah, okay, I'm sorry. 5709 Dunham Road, Maple Heights, Ohio, 44137.
Thank you. And you said you do, correct?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Sir, go ahead.
I do. My name is Raseem Parker, RASEEM PARKER. Address 804 London Road, Cleveland, Ohio, 44110.
Thank you. And is there anyone else in the room who wished to, oh, go ahead.
Kenya Gray, Southeast Side City Planner, 601 Lakeside Avenue.
Thank you. And anyone else in the room? Is there anyone on the call who'd like to speak today? Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Roca. We'll turn to history of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This property was originally zoned general retail in 1929, and then in 1994, it was changed to the current zoning. We didn't find very much on this property other than in 1911, a permit was issued to erect a two-story dwelling. In 1916, a permit was issued to erect a one-story garage. And then we see that there's a certificate of disclosure that was issued in 2019 stating that the authorized use of the property is as a church. And there are no variances on file. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. I'll have legal, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting an area variance from the minimum distance requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request, 1, will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, 2, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and 3, that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
All right, thank you for that. So this is written as an area variance. Wouldn't it also be a use variance if she's changing from residential to daycare?
Excuse me, Madam Chair. Shannon's on the call, but I can also chime in on this a bit. So the area variance is because the child care center is permitted if located not less than 30 feet from an adjoining premise, and they're directly adjacent to another premise in a two-family district. So that's.
Is this already authorized as a daycare?
Madam Chair, the daycare is permitted, is a permitted use in the
Okay.
residential district, as long, and as well as a church, the previous use as a church. So
Okay.
it has the caveat of needing Board of Zoning Appeals approval, as well as needing to meet that distance requirement.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Ms. Kukla. Okay, why don't you tell us about your project?
I'm hoping to open a childcare center in the dwelling. It's a 2-story home, well, commercial property. I don't know if I should say that or if I'm allowed to say that, but it's a 2-story property. Been fully rehabbed from top to bottom.
Okay, tell us about your daycare. Tell us about your operations, what you
Well, I
plan to do,
haven't
how many
able
children.
to go through that until this is completed. So like they come out and measure the rooms, the city first. So before I was able to get to that part, I just had to stop here. That's what I was told.
Do you have plans? Do you have like a business plan in terms of what you intend to do with the daycare?
Yeah, I do.
Ms. McAllister owns another daycare.
Yeah, I have
right
another
now
daycare center.
in Maple, and she's trying to expand her operations to this location. This location was previously a church, commercial property, as operating with the over 10 parking spaces. So we just want to sort of solidify that in the on the record.
Okay,
Go ahead.
go right ahead.
And how many children are you looking to have at this daycare?
No more than 30.
30? Mhm.
And what ages?
6 weeks to 12 years of age.
And how many staff members will you have?
Between 5 and 6 staff members. Probably, if they're, well, we're just gonna be open from 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. So between 5 and 6,
So 6:30 a.m.
6:30 p.m.
Is that 7 days a week?
No, 5.
5 days a week?
Madam
right.
Chair, would that be 5 days, Monday through Friday, or?
Monday through Friday.
Great, thank you.
All right, other questions from the board?
We typically ask how many shifts of work staff are gonna be working.
Usually it's typically dependent on how many children are enrolled per classroom. So if you have well, if you have like 5 infants, you have 1 teacher to 5 infants, but we're hoping to make sure we have 2 teachers in each classroom. So we can be above the ratio that is approved by the state.
Great, and how many classrooms are you planning to have?
We're gonna plan on having 4, 4. For all age ranges, toddler, preschool, toddler, preschool, infant, and school agers.
And typically you're serving lunch and a snack, or?
Yes, so we're gonna be serving breakfast, lunch, and a snack.
So the facility is going to remain pretty much the same. We're just going to add a kitchen area to it.
Oh, it doesn't have an existing kitchen in that building, huh?
It had a remnants of a kitchen.
Okay,
It's been
alright.
vacant. It's been vacant for
Okay,
a
so
while.
parts have been pirated probably at this
Right,
point.
right.
Yeah, okay, all right. Madam Chair, I do have a question a question to the appellant and then perhaps Mr. Bay. Do you intend on keeping the sign out front?
No, I don't, even though it's a church sign, but no.
So you plan to remove that?
Yes.
All right, super. That eliminates my need to ask Mr. Bay a question about that. All right. I think that's all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
All right, thank
And-
you, Ms. Faith.
Madam
Mr.
Chair,
Gray,
I
you
have
wanna
one
chime in?
more
Oh,
question.
sure, please.
Just, can you speak to how the pickup and drop off will work? for
Well,
the-
there's a side door on the, once you go into the parking lot, there's a side door there. So they won't be, it's fenced in. So the side door is in the back of the facility. So we won't let them out like on the main street or
Okay, so
on the
yeah,
side of the street.
I just wanted to confirm there will be no pickup and drop off on the,
No,
on
no,
Miles.
no, it has to be,
Okay.
at the door,
Okay.
back door.
Yeah, the entrance to the parking lot is off of the 90, 96, 97.
That's all I have, Madam Chair.
All right, Mr. Gray, we'll turn to you. Oh, Shannon, did you have a comment?
Yeah, was the testimony here that she's proposing a daycare in this district for 30 children?
That was the
Yes.
testimony.
Yeah, so going back to what you just asked, Madam Chair, this is Shannon Leonard, Chief Zoning Administrator. If she's proposing 30 children, she's asking to be a daycare center and not a type A daycare. And so daycare centers are first permitted by right in a local retail district, so she would need a use variance.
Thought so. Okay, so it sounds like we probably would need to re-adjudicate this at this point.
That's correct, with the proper information.
Okay, do you understand what she's saying? Okay, so you have given testimony that your facility will serve 30 children. And with that number of children, it would be considered a daycare facility as opposed to one that is permitted in a residential district.
Well, there's a occupant load calculation on the drawings. And that information was already presented, so it should have been.
When you
part
say
of
there
the-
was an occupant load, what
There's
do you mean by that?
occupant
What
load
did it
calculation.
state?
We have to look at it. I don't have it offhand.
Well,
She wants to go.
Xavier
through
has it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think either way, Shannon is saying it wasn't adjudicated with 30. So that is an issue. Oh, yeah, there's the occupant load. I can't see that from here, though.
I guess I'm asking, we'd like to take care of everything today and not have to come back.
Okay, hold on one
Yeah.
second.
Because we,
The screen went out. I'm
Xavier,
not sure if you're
your
seeing the
mic
number
is
there.
off too.
Yeah, I would defer this question to Shannon Leonard. I mean, even though they have, this information on their site plan, I don't know if it was, specified on the permit application, but I'll allow Shannon to.
Chief Leonard, I can see that your hand is raised again. Please chime in. You're on mute, so we can't hear you if you're speaking right now.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you.
I apologize. Yeah, so it looks like when the plans examiner adjudicated it, they left off the use requirement. This is zone 2 family. It is a child care center. It would be up to Ms. Kukla if she needs to republish it, or they can go ahead and you all can rule on it today. But I believe you may have to repost it as a use variance.
Yeah, I think unfortunately we do have to repost it because,
well,
hold on, sir, please don't speak out of turn. Go ahead, Ms. Madam
Yeah,
Secretary.
Madam Chair, just for full disclosure, we should probably repost it. We can get it back on really quickly in 2 weeks. We can get you back here. I can send out the notice this week, just so that the neighbors know that this use is actually technically not permitted. It's going to be a larger daycare than what we originally thought. Just to be on the safe side, we should do it.
Okay,
Repost it.
all right.
You can also attend virtually
okay.
the meeting if you were unable to make it here.
Okay, did you have additional comment?
Well, no, we just wanted to take this process as fast as we could. This information was already presented, so, it's sort of isn't on our end.
No, it's not. And certainly on behalf of the city, we apologize for having you go through this again. But it's just what we have to do. We have to give the proper notice to the neighbors. This was adjudicated as a area variance as opposed to a use variance. And so we do have to go back through those procedures and make sure that the proper notice is given. So as the secretary stated, she can get you back on the calendar within 2 weeks. So if you want to just follow up with the office, we'll definitely make sure to let you know what that next date is.
The date will be, we'll get them on May 12th.
May 12th.
Yeah.
Okay.
We apologize for that. We should have been caught by the city, but we have to do proper notice and that gives us 10 days. The notice will go out today, so.
Perfect. All right. I guess we'll reserve your further comment until next meeting, Mr. Gray. All right, very good. Okay,
Is there anything that, if there's anything that he would advise her to do or want from her for the next hearing, maybe now is an opportunity to state that to her.
I'm in support of it, but I'll be back in 2 weeks.
Okay, perfect.
Madam, I do have a question before they go, because looking at the drawings, it says school age room 31 kids and then infant/toddler room 16 kids. So altogether to me that reads as 47. And so I think when they come back, it would be helpful to be very clear on the number of children you're planning on serving in the building, and what, whether or not that will be allowed, that volume of clients is allowed given the use. And I do see that Shannon just raised her hand too.
Yeah, please, Chief, chime in.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they could go ahead and update their plans to indicate exactly how many people or how many children they intend to have, the ages, and then the hours of operation. That would be very helpful since this is a 2-family residential district.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, you guys clear about what needs to happen? Any questions before we let you go? No? Okay, very good. We'll see you back here in 2 weeks. All right, we're going to call the next case, which is Okay, this is an appeal at 2380 East 40th Street. Do we have an appellant present from Transform Properties LLC for this appeal?
Yes, Scott Siegelman.
Okay, perfect. Ms. Holzer, you want to go ahead and read the case in?
Sure thing. Our next case is calendar number 24-159. This is at 2380 East 40th Street. It's an appeal from the decision of the Building and Housing to deny an appeal from boarding invoices. Transform Properties LLC owner appeals under the authority of Section 76-6 of the Charter of the City of Cleveland and Section 329.02D of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances from the decision of the hearing officer to deny the request to overturn invoice numbers BUP 202300000407 and BUP 202300000815. This case was postponed from January 13th and March 24th, 2025 at the request of the appellant to allow time for the appellant to conduct discovery. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Roca for the oath.
Thank you, Ms. Holzer. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply with I do, state your name, spell your name, and give your address.
Okay, my name is Scott Siegelman. I do affirm that I will tell the truth and nothing but the truth. My address is 7728 Dorcas Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
And then can you please just spell your last name for the record?
Sure. S as in Scott, IEGELMAN.
Thank you. And I see someone else's hand is raised. We'll go to you.
Good morning. My name is Ariel Kolk, the Department of Assessments and Licenses, 601 Lakeside. I do.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in this matter? Okay, I see another hand up. Go ahead with your name and state that you do and spell your name, please, and give your address.
Sure. My name is McCoy Pizzuti. That's MACOY PIZZUTE. I'm the fiscal manager for Building and Housing Department, and I do swear to tell the truth.
Thank you. And let's just have Mr. Siegelman, if you could put yourself on mute. We're getting some feedback from you. Thank you. And I saw one other hand up. Does anyone else wish to speak in this matter? No? All right, back to you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you, Ms. Roca. We'll have legal, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is appealing an administrative decision of a hearing officer to uphold invoices. The standard of review is whether the administrative decision was illegal, arbitrary, capricious, unreasonable, or unsupported by the preponderance of substantial, reliable, and probative evidence. If the appellant fails to meet this burden, the administrative decision must be affirmed.
All right, thank you so much. I will start with Ms. Ariel Kolk. Will you please tell us about this appeal?
All I can speak to is that we received charges from Building and Housing and sent out the invoices as directed. They then sent out one letter to us that the appellant had protested and that it was denied.
Okay, thank you for that. What about Mr. Pizzuti? Can you speak to this, please?
Yes. So we have 3 board up contractors. In this case, we're using American General. When we receive a complaint for a board up or a board up violation, we send a board up contractor to board up the property. So we had 2 cases. The first invoice being on November 11th, 2022. Which was the first protest that was sent out on August 25th, 2023. And that was sent by the former fiscal manager before me, Robin Sladek. And then we received another complaint and had an invoice from American General for 22523 with photo evidence that the property was indeed, there was previous board up was ripped up, and a new plywood sheet was put in place to block the door from any nuisance entrances of people who should not be in that home. And that was sent out on June 28th, 2024.
Okay, thank you for that. Mr. Siegelman, you want to tell us about your appeal?
Sure. Sure. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I would like to say that I never received any notice from the city, from the director, and in accordance with ORC 3109.09, section E, it says notice of violation, and that the director shall provide to the owner written notice of violation stating the defects in the building, and the notice shall require the owner within a stated period of time to abate the nuisance. Now, this notice, the purpose of all this is so that the owner has the opportunity to board the property without the city doing it at exorbitant costs. Now, 3109.09E3 talks about how this notice is served. It says a notice shall, now we all know that shall legally and normally means must. A notice of violation shall be served by one or more of the following methods: personal service, residence service at the owner's address by leaving a copy of the notice of violation with a person of suitable age and discretion. That's A and B. C, a third way is certified mail to an address where it is reasonably calculated under the circumstances to reach the owner. Now, D could be done by regular mail with 3 requirements: the regular mail service to the owner at an address found under, to my address, and regular mail service to the property address, and posting a notice of violation in the building. And this has to be done with one or more of these. Section E, 3109.09E 3E says that the service made by publication electronically or once in a newspaper of general circulation in the city. Now, I'd like to mention that no notice was ever given to me in any way, shape, or form. So these violations should be dismissed. If the city disagrees and would like to state that they sent me some kind of notice, I would like to preempt that by saying that I issued discovery requests, and the fifth one, if I may, there were 5 of them, discovery requests. They did send documents, but the 5th one says that, admit that no written notice was sent to the owner prior to boarding, and if denied, provide such proof and notice of service to the owner. Now, in accordance with, just give me a second. Here we go. In accordance with Ohio Administrative Code Rule 4906-2-20B, they are required to send me within 20 days or it's admitted. So the city has admitted that they have never sent me any notice. Now, they're required by law to send me notice. They never sent me any notice. So therefore, these violations should be obviated. And let me say one more thing. If the city has any response, I request the right to respond to what the city has to say.
All right, Mr. Siegelman, does that conclude your comment?
For the time being, so long as I can respond to their comments if there are any.
Okay, Mr. Pizzuti, can you speak to the notice that has been given regarding the violation that it is here today?
So basically, we did have an invoice sent out to us from American General for a board up on in 2024 for that front door being reopened. In regards of why an invoice was, a notice was not sent out to the owner, I cannot speak in that regard. I do apologize for that. I do know, generally standing, just for the number of board ups that we do receive with a lot of nuisance complaints that we receive, we normally send out notices for a demo record instead of a board up record. I think if that is indeed in the actual ordinances, that the city should be looking into that and sending notices before board up violations are indeed occur. So, sir, if you have not received a complaint or a violation letter in that standpoint, I take responsibility on that, and I do apologize for the inconveniences that you do have.
And Chair, I have a few questions.
Please.
You don't mind. It's hard to see the invoices. Can someone, Mr. Pizzuti, can you testify as to how much has been invoiced to Mr. Siegelman? How many invoices went out and how much does he allegedly owe?
Sure thing. Give me 1 second. So the first invoice was sent out on January 13th, 2023 for a total of $667.43. And the second one, grab that real quick. Was sent out on November 3rd, 2023 for a total of $302.43.
And this is for board up of one property.
That is correct.
And why did it need to be boarded up twice?
It's a possibility that, an individual must have ripped previous board ups in and entered the home. So in one case, we have that all the time where someone will destroy a board up, re-enter the home for whatever reason, and we need to go up and board up that property again.
Okay. And with regard to the invoices being sent, is it your testimony that they were mailed, regular mail to Mr. Siegelman? Sir? Mr. Pizzuti?
Yes.
Yes, so were the invoices mailed regular mail to Mr. Siegelman?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Just in follow up to Ms. Roca's question, to which address were those invoices mailed via regular mail?
They were.
And if you have the dates of that, of the mailing?
Sure. They were mailed to Transform Properties LLC on 7728 Dorcas Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 82801. In terms of a date that they were mailed out, I do not have a date as they were mailed out before my tenure here, but the invoice dates are November 3rd, 2023 and July 13th, 2023.
All right, so this goes back to 2023. There have been disturbances in the mail of late, but this goes back 2 years. So great. Thank you, Mr. Pizzuti.
Mr. Pizzuti, is there some record or some person in your office that you can confirm that this has been mailed to this address?
Yes, I can confirm that. That would be our financial systems coordinator, who's in charge of our escrow and board up processing. That would be Carlos Barranca.
Okay, and you've confirmed with him that notice was sent to the address that we have on record?
Everything that I have, just all I can confirm from speaking with Carlos, that notices were sent out as well as invoices.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
I would like to, Madam Chair, if you would allow, have Mr. Siegelman respond to Mr. Pizzuti's. It seems to me that we have a dispute as to service and notice.
Correct.
And the law does require a certain type of service, and it appears that that may not have happened. That the notices were sent regular mail. But I do want to allow Mr. Siegelman to have one opportunity for rebuttal if that is with you.
Okay. Mr. Siegelman, do you have any comments based on what you've heard?
Yes, I do. Mr. Pizzuti admitted that these were not sent out as required by law under 3109.09 subsection E. The fact that they sent me invoices after they boarded the property did not provide me with written notice of the violation stating the defects in the building or structure. The notice of violation, they didn't send me written notice beforehand. That's what they're required to do. The fact that he clarified that the invoices were sent to me, I admit, after it was boarded, they sent me the invoices. That did not give me an opportunity in any way, shape, or form to board the property as required by law beforehand. So this recent discussion by Mr. Pizzuti and the board is, I would like to say that it's not relevant to the requirements of the statute.
All right, thank you, Mr. Siegelman. Back to you, Mr. Pizzuti. I know that you've given testimony that your office did send out the invoices. Is there any record or testimony that you can provide that states or shows that you all sent out violation notices before the board up invoices were sent?
For the record, all I have record of sending is invoices. And again, these invoices were sent before my tenure. So all the record that I have is the fact that an invoice was sent to Mr. Siegelman.
Okay, but no records of the actual violation notice being sent. Am I hearing that correctly?
That is correct.
And if I may, I'm stating.
Hold on a second, Mr. Siegelman.
Sure.
Were you done, Mr. Pizzuti?
Yes.
Okay, all right, go right ahead, Mr. Siegelman.
So just to point out what just happened, Mr. Pizzuti has no knowledge of there being any notices sent out. I am testifying under oath that no notice was sent to me prior to that.
Oh, we understand. Do you have any additional comment?
Unless there are other questions that the board may have, I have no comment at this point.
All right, thank you, Mr. Siegelman. I will entertain a motion, please.
So let me make sure I get, these are always hard procedurally. So Mr. Siegelman is appealing the decision of the city to deny his invoices. I move that we rule in favor of Mr. Siegelman and overturn the decision of the city.
All right, is there a second?
Board Member Madison, second.
All right, can we call the vote?
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Faith?
Yes.
Mr. Madison?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Calendar number 24-159 is granted. The decision has been overturned. The board will ratify this decision next Monday, and we will send the appellant a letter.
Okay, may I make one more request? That since I am grateful that the board has made that decision. I already paid these, so I request the city refund the money to me that I already paid for these.
Oh, that is
Above our pay
outside of
grade.
our purview.
Okay.
But I mean, the decision has been overruled, so there should, that's, Mr. Pizzuti, is there a refund procedure in place?
Yes, we can definitely look into a refund procedure. So yes, we can definitely make that happen.
Okay. And Madam Chair, if we could maybe put it in our motion, I'll make sure that it gets placed in the resolution.
Okay,
If
absolutely.
that's fine with the board members, I'll add that language.
Okay, yes, we
Okay.
will add that.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, that concludes this matter. We'll move to the last case of the day. And that is at 1115 Parkside Road. Do we have an appellant present? It looks like we do. All right, Ms. Hoser, you'll go ahead and read in the case. And just for the record, I will recuse myself from this matter.
Got it. Sorry, I'm having some difficulty with my screens. Okay. Our last case of the day is calendar number 25-043. This is at 1115 Parkside Road. 3-Day Pro Investment owner proposes to establish use as a residential facility for 5 occupants in an AA1 limited one-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 2. With a note that this case was postponed from April 21st due to the appellant's due to a scheduling conflict. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Roca for the oath.
Thank you, Ms. Holzer. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth? Please state, I do, state your name, spell your name, and give your address.
I do. I am Dante Sanders, DONTEZ SANDERS. My address is 12671 Gordon Street, North of Royalton, 44133.
Thank you. And sir, would you like to speak?
I do. My name is Jeffrey Weston Sleesman, JEFFREY WSTON SLEASMAN, and my address is 1057 East Boulevard.
Thank you. And is there anyone on the call? I see Ms. Washington. Oh, your volume is not working. No, we can see your mouth moving, but we can't hear you. It looks like you're off of mute, so I'm not sure if it's. No, we can't hear you. Mr. Bay, do you know what might be happening with her sound?
This is Xavier Bay. Hi, it looks like you're having some mic issues. If you're in and you don't mind coming down, you can come down to 514. If you have any additional comments.
Okay, so we'll move on, and if she's able to join us, we'll swear her in later. Is there anyone else on the call? I'm not seeing anyone. All right, I will now move to history of the property.
Thank you, Madam Chair, or acting Madam Chair. Thank you. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our records administration office, we found that there was a garage addition erected in 1932. There were violations issued beginning in 2003 regarding exterior maintenance. then later in 2003, we see that permits were pulled to begin to make corrections. Violations were issued again on 2005. Unfortunately, I couldn't get many details on that. But in 2005, there was a certificate of disclosure issued stating that the authorized use of the property is as two-family. And again, in 2019, a certificate of disclosure was issued stating the authorized use is two-family. And that's all that I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Acting Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kukla. We'll move to legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance and an area variance from the minimum distance requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request, 1, will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance. 2, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights. And 3, that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request, 1, will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district. 2, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights. And 3, that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you very much. And I will now move to you, sir, and you tell us what you'd like to do with the property.
Yes, but first of all, I want to thank everybody for being here, and I appreciate you guys letting me postpone it for a week due to my family being out of town. What we plan on doing with this property, since I purchased it in 2019, we went in there, rehabbed it, took out the old boilers, put in brand new HVACs on both sides, brand new roofing. We did the electrical, gutted the house pretty much from everything, from the kitchens to the bathroom, took out all the cabinets, appliances, and just did this property extremely good. The purpose for this property is we want to do adults with disabilities home, where we're gonna have 24-hour care there. My mother and father, they just retired. So what we're gonna do is, I'm not sure if you guys know, but once you guys like retire, people, they sit and they kind of get old or whatnot. So my father, he worked with students with disabilities in Twinsburg School District for 20 years. My father, he's going to be the director of operations there. We went through all of the courses together with Ohio Moss and DODD. My mother, she's going to take care of all of the cleaning and cooking there. And we're going to have a resident who live there, who lives there. So what I did was, before I went into the ward and just started doing this stuff, I sat down and I met with Councilman Conwell. He said, Dantes, I love your idea. I love like what you plan on doing, and I like you. But before I give you any support, I need to walk through the property myself and I need to see it, number one. And number two, you need to get out there. You need to tell the people in the community exactly what it is that you are doing. When he told me that, I'm going to be honest with you, I was not too excited about it. Once I got out there and I met with the people and I talked to the people, I understood why he wanted me to go out there and do that. There's a lot of very, 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 very proud people in that area. I've met people who's registered nurses who are looking for jobs, and people on the signature who plan on working at that property. Like, we sat down and we talked about them working at that property for registered nurses. This is going to be an opportunity to have people in the neighborhood work in the area, and also have a letter of support here from Councilman Conwell. I'm not sure if I should pass it
Ms.
out to
Kukla,
anybody.
do we have that letter on
I
file?
have it already.
All right,
Cool.
we'll read that into the record a little later.
So pretty much what we want to do is, we believe that everybody deserves a nice, safe, clean place to live. And so this is why we're doing it for the adults with disabilities. We are just over 900 feet from the next property that's there. So we're talking about literally a few steps difference in the zoning. So this right here is like the most important thing for me and my family after oxygen and air right now. So that's pretty much my spiel until I have to respond to anyone else.
All right, well, we'll go through some things. So you're going to house adults. How
Yes.
many adults?
5 adults,
5 adults.
no
And-
more than 5.
And what are their ages?
Their age is going to be between 18 and 65.
18 to 65. And you said individuals with disabilities.
Adults with disabilities, so this is not going to be like a sober house or sober living or people out of jail. This is just going to be adults with disabilities.
And will you be providing transportation for them?
Yes, we will.
And will you be providing meals?
Yes, we will.
How many meals?
They would get 3 meals a day plus snacks.
3 meals plus snacks. And how many staff members are your mother and father are going to be employees, correct?
My mother and father, they're going to be employees. Then we're going to have 2 other people that work there part-time.
So 5 people total,
A total of 5 people working, yes.
5 staff members. And how many shifts?
There's going to be 3 shifts, including weekends.
Shifts.
So it's
7
7
days a
days,
week.
24/7.
And will you be providing any type of security or cameras or
Camera security, no.
no cameras? And
No, sorry, yes, cameras, no security.
yes, cameras. And those are on the exterior of the house,
They'd
correct?
be in the exterior of the house, yes.
But no security. And I think I have it all, but I'm going to open it up to our board members for questions. If anyone has any items they'd like clarified, please.
Ms. Roca, well done. I would just add to a couple of things to that. We typically ask about the dispensing of meds, and also wondering the level of disability of these folks. Are they going to be ambulatory? Are they going to be able to take care of their own hygiene, or what level of assistance are they going to need?
Very, very good question. So everybody in this house, they would be able to walk and use stairs. So just imagine your greeter at Home Depot or your greeter at Walmart. So these are going to be functioning people that need help, or maybe like to, hey, did you take a shower? Hey, did you clip your nails? We would not give out any meds, right? So if a person needs medicine given to them, what we would do is we would hire a nurse to come in part-time and provide those meds to them. Our facility would not provide meds. Now, we keep them locked up, and if they have to take it at certain times, then we would give them their pills, but we would not help them put pills or any type of drugs in their mouths.
Okay.
Great. Perfect. Thank you. Let's talk about parking of your staff members.
Yes, good question. We do have a garage there. We have off-street parking. We have parking on the side of the house and garage, and there are some parking spaces that's on the street.
Where is
Okay.
your off-street parking? I see a garage.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm speaking of is that driveway, and then
Oh.
on the right side of that driveway between the garage and the house.
There's a little parking lot
Yep.
there. Okay. You can't see it on Google Maps because there's like bushes.
Yeah.
Right, that was the issue I had as well. We
Yeah.
just want to reiterate about parking in the driveway within the facade of the building.
Yeah, so you wouldn't want to park cars in the driveway up to the side of the building. So you could use the garage.
Okay.
And it looks like you have the ability to potentially park some cars in the area we can't see.
Yeah, for sure we can.
But there is no parking allowed within 10 feet of any opening of the side of the building, or the front
Okay.
of the building, or the back of the building for that matter.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
And then there's on-street parking as well.
There's on-street parking for sure, yes.
Okay. Any other questions, Ms. Faith?
I think I covered it. Let me just check my notes here. I'm sorry, did I miss? It sounds like he took a petition. Did we get copies of a petition?
Yes, I emailed them. I actually had Councilman Conwell's assistant, Imani Gofen, send them to Brittany and I believe
Here,
Elizabeth.
we have them. We have a
Okay.
copy in
And
our
I brought
packet.
several here just in case.
All right, and while
Okay.
we're, I want to just allow the other board members to speak if they have any questions at this time. Mr. Madison?
Through you, Chair, just a question on what's your recruitment plan of identifying individuals to be in the home? And just speak of maybe just any past experience or experience of the family members or staff to run the facility.
Very, very good point. So, as I said, my father, he's going to be the person who runs the day-to-day operations. My father has 20 years of experience at Twinsburg School District for working with kids with disabilities. That's my father's passion. So, which is kind of why we went in this field, because I do real estate by nature. And my family, my father, mom, I love them, right? But we know when you retire, man, you sit down and you watch TV. So we want to keep them active and keep them thinking. So one of the things that I did with my father, I learned that, man, he is not savvy with the Excel and computers and things like that. So one of the things that we did was we signed him up at the library just to go there for basic training, right? So just work those muscles in his brain. And he came back talking about how excited he was because he remembered some brand new things. This is more to me about helping people than it is about making money, right? This is about leaving a legacy with my family, about providing houses for people who need housing, right? So this is not about hitting a home run and making money. I have another meeting at 4:00 with Councilman Conwell about that. I went golfing with the Deputy Chief Bradley Davey on Friday, as well as Ryan. I forget his last name, it starts with a P. That's the That's the meeting that we're talking about making money in Ward 9 with. We're not talking about making money here. So I want to make that very, very clear. This is literally for leaving a legacy and doing something positive in the neighborhood. Next question, how do we find people? So with the young lady who was here earlier, Stephanie, who has houses and things like that, I am a member of the Ohio Adult Facilities and things. So just by networking, by going out, talking to people, interviewing people, and things like that. That's how I'm going to find people to live in my property.
Thank you.
Anything else? Or, okay, and Ms. Holzer, do you have any questions at this time?
So the appellant, just for the record, this is the first residential facility that you and your family would be operating, that you don't own any other residential facilities.
Nope, that is correct. And that's why we're doing the Ohio MIS first, because the Ohio MIS is a little bit more simpler than the DODD. So this is a 2-family side-by-side duplex. So we're going to start off with the Ohio MIS first. And then once we get a good grasp on that, then we're going to do the DODD side on the other side of the property.
Got it. Thank you.
Good
Right,
question.
just a few follow-up questions from me. So, and I should have asked this at the beginning, at the outset. Are you the an owner of 3 Day Pro Investment?
Yeah, so I am the owner of 3 Day Pro LLC.
Okay. And then can you just please describe the difficulty and hardship that you would face if your variances are not granted today?
Well, it's going to be more for like my family. It's going to be more mental on us because, again, this is for my family to go ahead and work. They're of age now where they're retired, right? And so we're going to keep them busy. We're going to keep them active. The hardship would be is they sit down and they get older and they rot, and then I lose my parents faster than I would have by keeping them active. So the hardship on losing a parent when you could have done like something for them, I don't think that you can measure that, right? And so since we have the ability to do something for them and to keep our family close together, and this may be a way where who knows, like when my 13-year-old get done with college or whatnot, he may take over this business. This is more about leaving a legacy than it is about hitting a home run and making money.
So, and thank you for that. And we, the board certainly understands the family hardship that you would face, but with respect to the property itself, what hardship would you face if you were not able to use the property in the way that you seek to use it today?
It may be a little bit more difficult of getting everything leased out there to good residents. So we may have to go the avenue to like Section 8 or Eden and things like that. And then we start to move in some of the less desirable people into a neighborhood that I think is, I mean, like I said, is a very, very proud area. So I want to make sure that I can move in good people and use like some of that income to go ahead and build up the ward of Ward 9.
Okay, thank you. And then Ms. Kukla, before I move Mr. Sleesman, can we just read in the record the letters? So we received the petition and how many signatures were included?
There are 20.
Okay, and those are all in support?
Yes.
Thank you. And then the letter from the councilman?
Letter of the councilman reads, I'm writing this letter about 9501 Parkside Road. fully supports Dantes Sanders' plan to operate a housing program for people with special needs. He believes Mr. Sanders' facility will be a great attribute to the community. Please allow this letter to be useful to Mr. Sanders in receiving approval for this zoning application. If we have any questions, we can contact Mr. Conwell.
Thank you. And are there any other letters in support or opposition?
No.
Okay, Mr. Sleeman?
Thank you, Madam Acting Chair. I'm also speaking in support. Mr. Sanders probably wasn't expecting this, but since I, with the recusal of the chair, know all the rest of the board, I figured I'd actually come down and speak my mind. Mr. Sanders sent out letters to the neighbors, and either himself or representatives thereof actually went door to door, spoke to a member of my family who was home at the time. There's plenty of parking in the neighborhood. It's a great place to live. I'm raising my son there, and we definitely are embrace Mr. Sanders' proposal for the property. He's owned it, what, 5 or 6 years?
Since 2019.
We've owned our home for the last couple of years and have seen no problems with the property so far under his management. Other than mail carrier not being able to tell between the two houses a couple of times, we've had no problems at all. And so we are definitely in support as a family.
Thank you. And are you adjacent to this property?
We're across the street.
Thank you for your testimony and for, it's rare that we get people coming into support. So we appreciate that. And Mr. Bay from the city?
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Sarah Bay, representing city planning. It's great to hear that the applicants, taking the initiative to speak with the community and the council person. And it looks like they're also about 1.5 miles away from the VA, which is a major health institution that could support this service. For those reasons, we are supportive of the variances.
And just to note, the 2 other residential facilities on the map, those are, and the reason for this variance is because they are around 900 feet.
This is Xavier Bay again to the chair. That's correct. If you're looking on the screen, my cursor is currently hovering over the 2 house icons. It looks like it's not coming up on the screen, but on the right side of the screen there, you can see just east of the intersection of North Boulevard and East 98th Street. That's where the existing facility is. And from my calculation, I got from parcel line of this property to the proposed property highlighted in blue is about 620 feet away. But you can see, if this applicant was just 4 houses away, he'd be right outside of the buffer.
Thank you for that. All right. Any other final comments from the board?
If Mr. Madison has nothing, I'll move forward.
Sounds good.
Okay. Just to double check, Mr. Sanders, do you have a business plan?
I do have a business plan, and I have a big old binder with everything that's all printed out of everybody's job responsibility. So we put in our application, and then when they come out to inspect the house, you have to have all these signs up. I have a big old binder and everything. It's about 70-something pages. So yes, I have everything that tells everybody role that's spelled out for everyone.
Excellent. I'm not allowed to hug you, but I would if I were there, because that is one of the things that I'd love to see. And I'm glad that you're starting with one phase as proof of concept before you move on to the next. And to Mr. Sleesman, it's great to see you. You were still single the last time I saw you. So it's been a minute.
And I'll be honest with you, that was a surprise, because when I seen him walk up, I did not know who he was, and I thought he was going to be against me, but I was ready to defend myself. So thank you so much too for being here. That means a lot to me.
You've got someone who's offering a great deal of good support to you, sir. So excellent. Okay, with all that being said, and Jeff, maybe I'll see you again in the future.
Hope so.
With all that being said, I move that we approve calendar number 25-043.
Board Member Madison, second.
Thank you, Ms. Kukla. We'll move with a vote.
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Mr. Madison?
Yes.
Ms. Faith?
Yes. So I don't know if you can hear me.
We heard you.
We heard you. And Ms.
Okay,
Roca?
I said yes.
And Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Calendar 25-043 is granted. It'll be ratified next Monday, and we'll send you a letter, but you can contact us next Wednesday for further instruction.
Thank you all so much.
Good luck with your project. Thanks for coming in.
So I met your nanny then, right? Yes. Your mom, okay,
All
okay.
right, well, welcome back our real chair.
Nicely done, Ms. Roca.
Thank you, Ms. Faith.
I didn't talk to you. I wanted to put that on the record and say he did not know my door.
Yeah, we are off the record.
We're off the record right now. To allow our chair to make it back to her.
Now we
Yes,
are
yes.
closing us out. We
Hey,
got
good to see you.
matters of old business that concludes our cases for today. In terms of ratification, we have 220. It's quite a bit. Any objection?
No
No
objection, we've been
objections.
busy.
Objection.
Very busy, right? All right, no objection on any of those ratifications. It looks like in calendar number 24-160, there is a request to have more time. Any objection there?
No objection.
Okay, Madam Secretary, do we have a date where we want to put this on, or do we want to just automatically extend it the
This
6
is-
months?
The affirmations, we automatically give them 6 months.
Okay, perfect.
How many affirmations or extensions? 2, right, that they're allowed?
We don't have a limit.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Nice.
Wasn't limited.
All right, so we will affirm that without objection. And then finally, there is an upcoming postponement in calendar number 21-108. It looks like the new date is suggested at June 9th. Any objection there?
No objection.
No. And this is the one we announced at the beginning of the, I just put it on the old business just as an extra reminder.
Okay, I love that. And then finally, we have calendar number 25-018. It looks like there is also a lot going on there. They have
They've taken
appealed
a-
our decision.
Right.
They're not happy with us, so perhaps we'll see this back here again. So just note that. All right, before we adjourn, any upcoming absences from any of our board members?
I send my absences for the year that I'm aware of now, so I think I'm good.
Thank you for that.
All right, well, it is 11:39 and we will go right ahead and adjourn. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you. Bye.